Hey church, I don't often do an announcement video like this, but so many things going on, we felt like it would be good for me to communicate some things with you that are going on here at the church. So let me give you just a few announcements, a little bit of vision of what God's doing. And I want to start one with thank you for those of you who were part of the legacy offering this week. And wanted to remind you, if you forgot about it, if you didn't have a chance to be a part, if you're out of town, there is still a link on our site where you can give, and the drop-down menu says Legacy Offering. And just as a reminder, the reason we're doing a legacy offering is we simply wanted to have a pool of funds that we can use that will be given to the community. And so all those funds will be given away. That's not for our budget, for anything in the church. That's for us to be able to bless the community as we start the year. If we have benevolence needs, just really kind of anything. And so we'll be praying that God leads us to the right events and the right people and organizations, the right people to bless as we start 2020. So legacy offering is one. The other thing I wanted to remind you that's coming up is we're getting right at the end of the year. Can you believe it's December already? Where did 2019 go? But small groups will be happening, actually starting the 1st of February. And the reason I'm talking about it now, because we're going to have a mandatory small group leader training that we'll be having in January. But I wanted to go ahead and get your brains kind of thinking now, because one area that we need someone is someone who maybe has some experience with Financial Peace University. We have purchased the module and have the scenario for us to be able to do that. But we're looking for a teacher or some teachers that would consider doing that. So that's something you have some experience in. If you are willing to consider that, it'd be great if you want to call me at the office or send me an email and let me know. But also would like for you just to start considering, would you lead a small group? Whether that be in your home, whether that be in your office. We've got all kinds of different creative ideas that people have of ways to gather. You can do a Tuesday lunchtime in the lunchroom at your office small group with people that don't even go to our church. The point for small groups is to build relationships and define freedom as part of our vision and what we do. So would you start thinking about small groups? What God might have you do? Would you pray? Can I just ask you to take time to stop and say, hey God, would you have me do this? And what would you have me do? So consider small groups. So legacy offering, small groups. And then I want to end with the Thrive Center. We are so excited about what God is doing and the vision that we've had. But I've had several of you, because I have such a limited time on Sunday mornings to be able to give vision, say, explain more, like what is this? And some of you have already responded and been really blessed by Jeremy Miller on Sunday. I thought he did a fantastic job of giving the vision of how important it is for us to focus on reaching the next generation. And we need to reach adults, we need to reach seniors, but our best return when it comes to evangelism is in that adolescent age, is in that scenario. And I don't know if you caught this, but Sunday, Jeremy said the research shows that if somebody doesn't accept Christ by the time they graduate high school, there's only a 6% chance that they will ever accept Christ. So that needs to be our focus. So most of you know I've been a youth pastor for 19 years. Of course, youth and children are at the core of my heart and my passion. And one of the things that I saw over the years of being a youth and children's pastor is the struggle, and specifically youth, is there are times when I had youth groups that were your homeschool, grew up in Sunday school, did Bible drills, have a family unit that's at home, reading the Bible, doing, those type of things. So when they come, they want meat. Like they want something deeper. They want something, because they've done the stories, they know the general stories, but they want something deeper. But at the same time, we're running youth group and we're trying to reach kids that are off the street. And these days, kids don't even know who Noah is. If you bring up Noah, they think Noah, the kid that lives a couple of houses down. I mean, they don't know who Moses is. They don't know general stories. So when you picture in your head and you think about the reality of what it is to try to get a teenager to come off the street, quote unquote, and put them into a Sunday morning setting, they don't have a clue. They're like, it's all a bunch of Christianese, doesn't make sense. If the pastor does the whole, you remember the story of Moses? No, they don't. Like they're clueless in that. So we have to have some sort of a system. We have to have some way, if we're going to do evangelism well to the next generation, we have to have a system. Intentions don't get anything done. Systems get things done. And so we've come up with what we think is a process, if you will, for supporting families in creating world changers. That's our goal, is not only can we have the kid who has a solid family unit and has church background and all, and we can be developing them, but also we can take a kid who knows nothing about God, and we've got a way to develop that kid and process them through it. Let me tell you how it works. So the vision of Thrive, and as of January, we will be changing the entire youth ministry to Thrive is the name. And part of the vision is when we were launching the church, something the Holy Spirit said to me over and over and over and over again as I looked around was, I saw people surviving. I saw people living paycheck to paycheck. This is just the way it's always been. I guess it's the way it's always going to be. And it's survival. When we launched the church on John 10:10. I've come that you might have life and life to the full. Well, that doesn't sound like survive. That sounds like thrive. And so our goal is, how do we help the next generation thrive? And so here's how we're going to do that. One, we're going to open up the new Thrive Center, which so excited because this Saturday is a big work day that we've already got some people signed up. If you want to sign up to come help. But we're going to be building out a building that actually sits right in front of the church office. It's right behind me here. But what's amazing about it sits right here on South Street. There are about 50 teenagers that walk right in front of the front door of that center every afternoon after school. Like, God gave us a location that is just amazing. I mean, it just really is really cool. So that gives us the opportunity to be right there. The Thrive Center is going to be a place where we've got video game systems, pool tables, ping pong tables, carpet ball, just all different games and things that we can do. Free place for any kid to come and hang out as long as they're within the age range. And we will basically just build relationship with them. Now, in that process, we have a curriculum that is a biblical mentoring curriculum. So what we want to do is we want to sit down with a kid, and we'll have all kinds of incentives for them to sit down one-on-one and do a lesson. We're building a room in there that is called the mentoring room with a window, so it's safe, but so that it's one-on-one. Men with young teenage boys, ladies with teenage girls, right? So we keep everything pure in that. But the idea is the very first lesson in this says, who cares? And it's meets them where they are from the standpoint, have you ever wondered why you're here? Have you ever even thought, does anybody care? Is there a map? And by the third lesson of that book, they have an opportunity to start a relationship with Jesus because they've heard purpose and meaning and all this. So now we're meeting a kid who has zero church background. We're meeting them where they are and beginning to have them understand some basic concepts of who God is. After we develop for a while, we'll have kids that go through this biblical mentoring and they'll grow, and we'll see that growth in them. And when they do, we need another next step while we're also still meeting the needs of our other kids, right? My own girls, I'd put them kind of in that category. They want something a little deeper. They do Bible every day. But while we're still make sure we're ministering to them, that we're also giving them a next step. So the next step would be small groups for teenagers. So we'll be working on developing small groups for our teenagers that our kids are going to and are part of the small group, but it gives a kid in the center who has grown a bit, and those that work in the center or the director in the center has the opportunity to go, that kid's ready. Well, now to go to this small group, it's a privilege. It's not a right. It's a privilege. And so you're going to go to Miss Sally's house, and you're going to be honoring and respectful. And if you don't, you're not going to be invited back. And so what are we doing? We're working them into the body. We're working them into what it means to be part of the church life and all of that. And then the goal eventually would be to get them involved in Sunday morning. Because we've grown them up now, they understand a little bit more, they can start coming and being a part and understanding more, maybe eventually go through life steps and become part of our dream team and start to grow. And so we've given that. But we're also, on Sunday nights, we are going to have a thing that will specifically for our kids on the other end of the spectrum. Those that we want to create the world changer in them and give them skills and abilities. And so on Sunday nights, we will be doing upper level theology study. I will be doing theology study with the kids. We will do Toastmasters type of scenario, public speaking, for them to have to present in front of the rest of the group. We'll bring in business owners to talk to them about different topics, finances, interviewing, those type of things. So what we're doing with Thrive is we're creating an entire spectrum for us to not only be able to deal with the unchurched kid on the one end, but for us also to be developing the world changers on the other end. And so we've got a whole spectrum to be able to do that. We are modeling this after Jeremy's church. Jeremy Miller was with us on Sunday. They've been doing it in San Diego for 20 years. And so to give you one example, their current worship leader of their church, and they're a church of about 2,500 people. It's a big church. Their current worship leader, as a kid, came through the teen center. So that's the vision of Thrive. And I wanted to be able to give it to you in a bigger picture to understand exactly what we're doing to try to meet the needs of this generation and develop a system for us to deal with not only the unchurched, but also our upper level kids and develop them up and beyond. And so the idea is they would thrive, is that we would create an opportunity for us to support families and their desire to make their kid a world changer. And so that's the idea. So the way that you can get involved, and you can be praying about this, is we're going to need volunteers that will come and do shifts at the center. And I'll tell you what that's going to look like. It's going to look like a lot of playing. It's going to be a lot of just hanging out, because relationship has to be built before you can sit down and talk a lesson with someone. So really, it's adults that would be willing to come play pool, hang out with the kids, maybe even play a video game with them, discipline where we need, can maintain rules and those kind of things. So maybe being a mentor at the center 1 or 2 days a week might be something that you would consider. Also, we need some small group leaders to help lead small groups of teenagers, which would be in homes. We need some people that would offer their home more desirably in Leesburg, because we want to keep it close. Because especially these kids, if we get them to come from the center, we have to transport them, or they may have to walk or ride a bike. So the tighter we can keep that in, the better. But we're going to need some small group leaders in that. So would you pray about that and consider that? And there may be some of you that just the word teenager, when I say that right now, you just broke out. You need a little Benadryl, and that's okay. Because I remember Mr. Lynn Van Buren years ago asked me, how can I help and serve at the church? And I said, why don't you come serve in youth? And Mr. Lynn came to youth, and before we got done with the second song of worship, it was the beginning of youth seconds, he came over and he's like, I'm leaving, I gotta go. This is ridiculously loud. And he left. And I mean, I can remember that night like, okay, whoops, I guess I messed up, introduced him to something. I'll just tell you now, Mr. Lynn I don't think he's missed a youth group since we started here at Church of the Lakes, now these years. So all I'm telling you is that just don't immediately push back and go, oh, that's not my thing. You might be surprised what God would do. So just like I'm asking you to ask God about legacy offering, like I'm asking you to ask God about small groups, like I'm asking you to ask God about Thrive. Just ask God, what do you want me to do? What is my part in this? And consider being a part of that. So I hope that helps. I hope that kind of clears up vision and understanding and why and what we're doing with this Thrive Center. It's amazing because as of filming this video, we've had 400 check-ins at The Rock. We're now working with the Leesburg PD for some of those kids to go to their Shop with a Cop program for Christmas. I mean, so God is just orchestrating the relationships, and I think the center is going to end up being a hub where we have the opportunity literally over the next few years to see hundreds of kids have the opportunity to at least hear God's story, to at least hear the gospel and maybe respond. So I hope that clears up any questions that you may have had. But if you've got another question or you've got an inquiry about, well, I'm interested maybe, please contact me. Please, email me, call me here at the church, and let me know how I can help you to plug in, because it's going to be amazing to see what God does through this whole scenario. So hope you guys have a great rest of the week. Thanks for taking time to watch this, and we'll see you Sunday morning.